Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is October 8th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. Let's scroll back and take a look at what went on as we went through last night and on in through this morning. And also, on a side note, I have been up all night long. I got a little bit of sleep once I got home, but I was out there at Mount Rainier getting some lenticular clouds with the aurora in the background. Got some pretty epic stuff. But yeah, that's why the report is late here today. And let's take a look at what happened there. You can see that frontal system, the weak one, kind of moving through this morning. Brought some precipitation, mainly to western Washington and southwest BC. It didn't get down into Oregon too much, as you can see as we scroll through the day today. And we're going to continue with this troughing, some of this onshore flow as we go on into tomorrow. But we do have the chance to warm up and bring a nice weekend again here as well across much of the Pacific Northwest. And we'll take a look at the extended forecast as always. I stopped this right here. There's something going on with the GOES 18 satellite imagery, but you can see the troughing here. There's going to be continuing to bring some precipitation across the region as we go through the day tomorrow. Looking at Seattle yesterday, CTEC 75 degrees, 11 degrees above average of 64. No precipitation yesterday, although we did get some this morning. That will show up when we do tomorrow's briefing here and take a look. By the time we get towards the end of the month, 56 degrees is our average high, and we average around 4 inches of rain for the month of October. And if you want to do a current spotter and observer training here, you can go online, go to Spokane National Weather Service and check out the training schedule. You can do this online also. And so if you want to go ahead and do that, I'll appreciate it. And you can learn a thing or two about weather observing, even some snow measurement training as well. Now, taking a look at the European on the left versus the GFS on the right, got the Gulf of Alaska. There's Washington State, there's Oregon. And of course, in the short term, things are going to look pretty similar between the European on the left and the GFS on the right. And as we scroll on in through Wednesday, you can kind of see the troughing continue, the onshore flow, bringing some precipitation as we go on in through the day Wednesday. Then we start to build a little bit of a ridge here as some of this energy is going to be moving down towards the California and the Oregon border. And you can see the GFS a little bit further north with that here. The European wants to diet that a little bit further south. That system will be weakening as it moves onshore. And you can see this impressive ridge building up into Canada across British Columbia. And that also shows up on the GFS as well as the Gulf of Alaska trough is just absolutely raging here as we go on in towards mid-October. But we do have the chance for some nice days here across Pacific Northwest, depending on the exact track of that low pressure center that's going into the west coast here. And then we scroll off into the extended forecast, and you can see we're going to be in this cat and mouse game with a big ridge over some of North America and the deeper troughing out over the Gulf of Alaska. And when will we see a pattern change on that? I'll show you more on that here in a moment. But you can see pretty good model agreement as we go on the extended. The Gulf of Alaska troughing is going to remain active, but the European definitely much further south with the storm track versus what the GFS is showing once we're looking out here in the fantasy land almost 10 days out in the forecast. If we take a look at what was going on through this morning, you can see that frontal system moving through. Some of the shower activity continuing across some of the higher terrain as we go through today. Then Wednesday afternoon, another brief shot of some precipitation, mainly across western BC, some of western Washington there. And then we dry out a bit as we go on in through Thursday. You can see that system weakening as it approaches the west coast and a lot of that energy headed towards California. And you can see we could be in for a nice weekend, Saturday and Sunday, dry and possibly warming up for some of the region as well before the next round of frontal systems tries to make its way on in towards the Pacific Northwest. Now, I talked about that pattern change potential, and if you look at the European Pacific North American oscillation, when you're in positive here, that's when that Gulf of Alaska troughing is really raging, and you can see that's going to be the case as we go through the mid portion of October, but then you can see the pattern change potentially coming as we start to head towards the later portion of October. That's the European. If we look at the GFS, it shows something similar there as well, positive transitioning towards negative here as we go on into the second half of the month. So we'll see if we get any strong frontal system or some interesting cooler weather with that as we go on in towards the end of the month. And again, Pacific North American positive shown here, Gulf of Alaska troughing, ridging out over much of North America, and you can see the reverse is here with the Pacific North American negative oscillation. Now, looking at composite reflectivity, this is the 18Z high resolution rapid refresh, goes out 48 hours. You can see the showers kind of going through tonight across some of western Washington. Then we go on in through Wednesday, and again, some showers moving through. Might get a moderate shower out there, but it should be fairly brief and moving through. And then we start to dry out as we head on in towards Thursday. And we're looking at the 15-day precipitation anomaly. Look at the European. It's not showing, it's below normal precipitation totals here across Pacific Northwest. and much of that action directed off into the north. Look at the GFS here, and it kind of shows something similar, bigger amounts across western BC, and some pretty good deficits there as we go through about October 24th, the morning time here. So just kind of looking out 2 weeks in advance there. Looking at the 2-meter temperature anomaly, and you can kind of see that reflected here as we have the below normal temperatures here into some of BC and trying to get down into Washington at times. But again, as we go through the weekend, we may be warming up as we go on in towards Saturday and Sunday. And then again, we'll be seeing what those next frontal systems have in store for us as we go on in through next week coming up there. And again, you can kind of see that temperature gradient there, warmer across, the Intermountain West versus what's going on across western BC. So a daily 2-meter maximum temperature. This is for tomorrow, Wednesday. And then we go through Thursday, Friday, starting that warm up here for some of Western Oregon, Washington, some nice days maybe rolling in here. Look at that Saturday, some 70s start to show up here, western portions. Then we go through Sunday and Monday. And you can see temperatures this time of year generally starting to cool off here across eastern Washington as well. You don't see as many 80s, upper 80s and 90-degree temperatures as we go on into this weekend. Things are pretty even here, comparing eastern Washington to western Washington. So kind of nice to see. And then maybe some frontal systems coming in later in the period. We'll worry about that later. Taking a look at the extended forecast on the European, what I'm showing this here for is you can see the temperature downward trend as we go on in through October. Here would be about Halloween right there. And as we continue on into November here, you can see the temperature is definitely cooling off. This is kind of how the seasons go here in the Pacific Northwest. And then same thing here for precipitation amounts. Once we really get into November, is generally our wettest month here for many locations across the Pacific Northwest. And you can kind of see some of the ensembles picking up on that activity as well. And again, we're going to have this comet coming through as we go through the October, maybe even as early as the 12th, but generally 14th through the 24th, western sky after sunset. And we will be checking out some of these forecasts as we get closer. If we go all the way out towards October 13th, for example, you can see we might have some decent comet viewing out there. And of course, probably if you go west or east of the Cascades of Oregon, Washington, British Columbia, you're going to have better chances here. But we do have that chance for even portions of western Washington. And again, it just depends on the timing of these frontal systems and just how these cloud shields are going to be impacting the Pacific Northwest. Here's the 6 to 10 day, a little above average here across Pacific Northwest. Take that with a grain of salt. You saw what the ensembles had for the next 2 weeks or so. So this is probably going to be in flux. Here's the 6 to 10 day western portion of the USA generally above average through October 18th. Here's the 8 to 14 day and something similar there as well. But take that with a grain of salt, that above average showing up there. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to try to get some sleep here, organize all my data. I've got over 20,000 raw images over the last 3 days. My hard drive is just a complete mess with how much stuff I've gotten this year with tornado chasing, dust devil chasing, all kinds of stuff going on with the Puget Sound. I've drone a lot, so I've got a lot of data there, and I've been just shooting so much Mount Rainier lenticular cloud stuff over the last 2-3 weeks now that I'm just absolutely swamping my desktop computer here. So I'll be trying to work on that here over the next couple of days and get things organized. It's getting completely out of control. But anyway, I'll try to get some sleep today. I'll try to do my briefing at the normal hour tomorrow. Hope you guys are having a good day otherwise, and I will talk to you guys then.